Republican leaders here. When I was doing my exercise this morning, I heard that there was an incident. The Navy Yards and traffic was tied up. They didn't know what it was. And of course, coming into the Capitol, I knew something was up because I saw our police officers with their weapons, automatic weapons that they usually don't carry, at least in view of everybody that's out on Constitution Avenue and other places. So, Mr. President, I was saddened to hear about the events here in Washington. This was alluded to in the prayer by the chaplain at the Navy Yard this morning. There are a number of people who have been injured. I don't know all the details. We know at least there's one dead. And I don't know all the details, don't know a lot of the details of this tragedy, or who the perpetrator or perpetrators may be. But according to the reports that we've gotten, several people were killed and several more injured, including a Washington Metropolitan Police officer and a military police officer. My sympathies are, of course, with those families who died. With those that have been injured. And my wishes go out to all those who work in the Navy Yard complex, which is just a short distance from here, and the surrounding neighborhood. As usual in these events, you have to recognize the first responders, rush to the scene, their professionalism. I don't know all about it, but I'm certain it was there. And my thanks go to the brave law enforcement officials who were on the scene and who put their lives on the line. And today we realize that they really do put their lives on the line to keep this Capitol complex safe and the city safe. I urge everyone in the area to follow law enforcement direction for their own safety, whether that means sheltering in place or simply avoiding the Navy Yard area today. The shooters, to my knowledge, have not been apprehended. I've been told that they have their fixation on where one of them might be, but we will all continue to follow the situation as it develops. So, Mr. President, based upon this, as I indicated, I've spoken with the Sergeant at Arms. The Republican leader has been advised of everything that I've said and going to suggest. But in light of the events at the Navy Yard, we've decided to recess the Senate until tomorrow morning. The vote scheduled for this evening would be rescheduled. We'll have an announcement later on the timing of those votes. So, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent. Yes.
Majority Leader would suspend.
Be happy to.
Just a few observations about the events of the day.
I'm sorry I didn't do that automatically.
We're all thinking about today's tragic shootings at the Navy Yard, about the victims and about their families. The men and women in our military courageously put their lives on the line in many dangerous places around the world. It's painful for all of us to think about them having to worry about their safety when they come home, too. Many people in the area and across the country will be directly affected by this terrible tragedy, and we pray for them all. These kinds of incidents always remind us how fragile life is. They also remind those of us who work in and around the Capitol how much we all owe to the men and women who work so hard to keep us safe every day. So I want to take this opportunity to thank Terry Gaynor and his team, Chief Dine and the entire Capitol Police Force for all they do day in and day out, and for everyone else who is working through this tragedy, the first responders, medical personnel, D.C. Police. I want you to know one thing. We're all thankful for your hard work and your sacrifice. Everyone is deeply grateful, especially on days like this.
Mr. President, I appreciate very much my friend's statement. Coincidentally, earlier this morning I had in my office a Capitol Police officer. I said, "What's the number on your badge?" I don't remember exactly, 3,600 and something. And I said, "Look at my cabinet there. Look at my badge. Mine was 363. So Senator McConnell's absolutely right. We take for granted the work that these men and women do for us here, but it's significant that they do everything they can to protect us and all the thousands of people who work in this Capitol complex. Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent, that is, if in executive session, that the order for the consideration of the Campbell, Smith, and Kaplan nominations be modified to be considered at time be determined by me after consultation with Senator McConnell, with all of the provisions remaining in effect.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered.
I ask unanimous consent that when the Senate completes its business day adjourned to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, Tuesday, September 17th, following the prayer and the pledge, morning hour be deemed expired. Adjourn the proceedings be approved to date. Time for the two leaders be reserved for the use later in the day. Following any leader remarks, the Senate will be in a period of morning business till noon, with senators during that period of time being permitted to speak for up to 10 minutes each, with majority controlling the first 30 minutes, Republicans the next 30 minutes. Following that morning business, Senate will resume consideration of S. 1392.
Is there objection? Without objection, so ordered.
I therefore ask that the Senate adjourn under the previous order.
The Senate stands adjourned until 10 a.m. tomorrow.